Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happening. Now, Deku met with 343 after coming back to the Foundation from a recovery mission. And this had a number of things happen from there. Now, 343 opened some of Deku's old wounds. He not only apologized for not being able to do more, he tried to make things clear to Izuku. He has a very limited amount of power in this human form. But even then, in the 5000 reality, he was trying to prevent Foundation reality benders from tearing things to shreds. Quite literally. And this, Deku does still not fully comprehend. Now, 343 tried his best to console Izuku. He let Deku know Inko Midoriya exists, the name of his mother, and exactly what she looked like. And Deku, yeah. His talk with 343 left him not very well. The man knows he's in denial. Though, to Izuku, he's not sure how the hell to feel. And after he got back to his new containment cell, saw how they updated it, saw that he had a kitchen, he had a bedroom, and a living room, he was certainly intrigued. He had an actual small apartment. He had a place. And Dr. Bright expressed to Izuku about the cross-test the Foundation are doing with him right now. Deku got his picture taken by the Desire camera, and Dr. Bright, after seeing the first photo, took a whole lot more, understanding that this could be fun. He also did something that he really shouldn't have, taking pictures of the staff involved in this experiment. And oh boy, such juicy details. Now, the Foundation have been trying to look over some information, along with trying to somewhat study what might be going on with Deku's mental psyche. A Foundation psychiatrist is currently on its way to his room, and they have been given some of the pictures from the experiment. Along with it, the Foundation, they do want to approve another cross test. Though she's going to need to evaluate his mind. From the information she's gotten, it's certainly going to be her most unique case. Though at the same time, this also might put her in the better light of the O5s. I mean, she does provide her services to certain members of personnel. And currently she's going to bring her hand up. Her swiping her keycard, and the door, it does go to open up. Currently, her walking to the room and looking around the kitchen, staring at the fridge and staring at the cabinets. That white color, cleaned as well. Her going to turn and walk into the bedroom. Her looking around and expecting to see the anomaly somewhere in here. Then again, where is it? Her turning, walking over and going to walk into the living room, seeing that the TV is on. Her going to turn and look at the couch, seeing her going to walk over to the back of it and bring her hand down. Her tapping onto the fabric and asking if Izuku is in the room. Looking around. And she doesn't get a response. Currently, Deku going to open his eyes and go to look down. Bring his hands down onto the ceiling and then going to uncamouflage. Her going to turn and see Deku's tail that is currently hanging from the ceiling. It resting on the end of the couch. Him going to bring his hands up and unstick to the roof, falling onto the ground and turning to the doctor, asking them if they want him to do another test. No, SCP-682-2. I'm going to be one of the doctors supervising your sessions. Sessions? Therapy, correct? Very good, yes. Um, Many members of personnel would like to understand a lot about you. And as far as I can tell from this interaction so far, you're cooperative. What happens if I don't pass? What do you mean? If I don't pass, will the Foundation just leave me alone for a minute? That's unfortunately not how that works. No. Though I will have to jot that down, as you may know. I wish to be left alone. Okay, I understand, but I wish to be left alone. The person is staring at Deku, and Deku, he does stare at them a bit more aggressively. Him telling them, if they want to cross-test him, do so. He talked with 343. He wrote things down. Journals in the other room. If they want it, take it. Don't talk to him. Still not comfortable talking about it. All they need to know. Leave. Currently Deku going to turn. Him gonna lay down on the couch and go to sit there. And the doctor, they do just want to turn to Deku. A lot more aware that this anomaly can tear them in half without even thinking about it. And they do get a turn. Walking back into the bedroom and seeing the journal open. It with a significant portion of notes written inside of it. The pages, yeah, okay. Her walking over and grabbing it, only turning and staring at some of the photos that do sit here. One that show the quote-unquote Feast of Friends. Then, the normal-looking photo of Deku. And then there's also one of him sitting in a coffee shop. One of him surrounded by people and no one looking at him. Though he does clearly seem to be talking with an unknown person. And this does pose some questions. Because he can't really see their face. Huh. No. The image is blurry. His face is blurred out. And this does someone intrigue the doctor. Them bring their hand back up to the lab, coat, grabbing a pen, writing that down on their notes, and going to grab Deku's journal, expressing about how they'll be leaving now, and the Foundation would really appreciate if he would be a bit more cooperative. They do not have to test if he does not feel comfortable. The ethics committee have gotten more involved in his case. In fact, somebody might be coming by to talk with him. If things do escalate a certain way, they want to turn and making their way out of the room. And we do currently have members of personnel at Site 19. Some of them are highly intrigued by one thing. Site 22 was in Sweden, and the druid was only housed at Site 22. Currently, she is at Site 19. And who else is currently at Site 19? One person they are going to be intrigued to cross-test her against. And currently, Deku, he is none the wiser. And there actually is, with the Foundation, they do begin to look into all of this. As 8004-1, she does get approved cross-testing for SCP-166. And right now, there's actually somebody walking down the hallway. Them, pissed off about something. And there's currently somebody else walking down another hallway. them with a few things going through their mind. And we do currently have Izuku, who does go to get up and get out of his room. He wants to go outside and have a breath. Go outside and just do something. He doesn't know. He likes being here, but he doesn't like being cooped up in this room. He likes the feeling he has right now, but he knows he's being watched. And it's unnerving. Weird, strange. And currently Deku, he would walk out of his room. Currently the door closing behind him, as he would turn, make his way down the hallway. Deku seeing some members of personnel, as he does go to turn. Rounding a corner and seeing a man. Currently him running up and right past Izuku, turning and going to hide behind him, expressing he needs to hide him. Deku turning his head, before looking back up and seeing Dr. Cleft. Currently him a bit annoyed. And the man, he does have a knife firmly gripped in his hand. And in his left hand, nothing but rage. Now, the man is making his way very fastly towards Izuku. And currently the doctor, they do go and stand there. Cleft stopping about 5 feet in front of Izuku and asking him exactly if the doctor behind him is, well, Dr. Mars. The SCP in question will take a message, please. Deku turning his head, before stepping to the left and grabbing the doctor. Currently the man, alarmed, as the man would talk about it. Hey. He only approved cross-testing. He didn't approve the idea they had for putting her in the field. You didn't. No. Junior researcher. I'm a junior researcher, Dr. Cleft. So, okay. The head right now is at the actual test. If you're gonna kill someone, kill them, not me. I'm just following my job, doing what I need to. I wasn't the one who approved anything. I don't have that authority. I just take notes. And I sort of needed coffee before the test. Dr. Cleft walking right over, expressing right now, bringing his hand up and grabbing them by their lab coat, his own disdain for what he's heard. Why exactly would the head of that project approved weaponization of 166? She cannot go outside under very certain circumstances, and as far as he understands, the area right now, the site they're at right now, how many members of personnel does he think are smokers? How many members of personnel exactly does he believe have some sort of vice that is aerosolized? How many people does he think she would interact with if she goes out into the field who would send her into an asthmatic shock? And the man stares at Dr. Cleft. Him, going to look away as Cleft would bring the knife up, yelling at him that he wants a goddamn answer. And Izuku, he would just get a turn. Currently, him make his way down the hallway as right now Deku, he does go to look up, seeing Dr. Cleft and the doctor he's talking to. What the? Him turning around, looking behind him and not seeing anything. Wait, but wasn't he just walking that? Deku turning, him beginning to move down the hallway again. And the doctor, he does go turn his head, seeing Deku moving it that way before he does disappear. Currently him reappearing in the same spot he was at before smashing right directly into the wall. Him falling through it, and right now going to stand there in the research area of an anomaly. And some people do stare at him, as they do to at least try to ask if they believe that might have been an effect of the anomaly in question. I don't know. Currently, somebody stepping forwards, them asking the anomaly exactly if they are experiencing some sort of effect, and Deku would return. Currently, him bolting into the hallway because he doesn't want to deal with this. He doesn't want to deal with some sort of anomaly. Currently, Deku going to disappear and reappear. Currently, him hanging upside down from the ceiling from his tail. And this, oh, come on. He didn't even have this thing out. Come on. Currently, Deku going to sit there. And Dr. Cleft would turn his head looking up at Deku. Him turning to the researcher and asking them, okay, what the fuck is going on? We're still trying to figure this out. The anomaly we're studying, it's, I guess, acting up. Though, this doesn't make sense. Okay. We found this weird thing. And as far as we know, it's been misclassed. But some of us don't believe that to be the case anymore. Currently, Deku going to do one thing. Him detaching his tail and falling to the ground. Him landing on all fours and going to turn. Expressing about how he doesn't want to deal with some sort of reality bender. Him turning and bolting in the hallway again. And currently this time, Deku does escape the area of effect. Him annoyed. And there actually is where the two did turn their heads looking at the tail. That is stuck in the ceiling. Should we do something about that? We're gonna have to. Currently, Dr. Cleft turning and making his way down the hallway. Now, currently Deku, he would eventually encounter some guards, and they do want to take him in for a cross test that has been approved. One of the doctors trying to express that Izuku may actually like the test they will be performing currently. And Deku, he is a bit annoyed. However, right now, he currently is taken to a room where he does go look around and see a few things. The room is typical. Pure white, clean, but a pedestal in the middle. And sitting on top, there's a bell? And Deku does stare at it. Currently him being informed to walk over to it and ring it. Because the Foundation staff are curious to see what might happen. And Deku, he does get a turn. Him asking them if he's going to blow up. No, Izuku, you will not blow up. Want to be shredded apart? Also, no. Will I lose my hand to it? No. It shouldn't harm you at all. Shouldn't? Sorry. It won't harm you at all. Even though your own... You understand. Deku turning. Him going to throw out his tongue and currently wrap it around the bell. Him pulling it towards him as he's going to bring his hand up catching it. Him going to hear the clang of the metal before staring at it and then to ring it properly. Before there is where somebody would go to express. Currently them going to stand in front of him and Deku will get a turn. Hello, I am Mr. Deeds. Hi? You look familiar. I do not believe that I do. If I do, it must be a coincidence. Nice to meet you. Now, is there something that you wish to have right now? I can do whatever I can and what is within my power for you. What? Ah, it's simple. If you have something that you want me to do, I will try and do it, to the best of my abilities. Really? Yes. Something you want, something that you need. Hmm. Um, is there a limit? Currently, somebody in the room a bit more intrigued by that. Though Mr. Deeds does get to express. There is certain limitations. However, what exactly does he have in mind? Hmm. No, no. The Foundation, they are still looking into him, right? Where he came from? So, that's certainly an idea. Though, anything he wants. Hmm. Anything at all. Are you alright? I'm thinking. Do take your time. Though, I understand. Just shut up. As you wish. Currently, Mr. Deeds staying there, quietly and well dressed. And Deku, he does somewhat go over the idea. With Mr. Deeds, he could meet his mother? I mean, there is an idea there. Though, Mr. Deeds could. If you were to get somebody, how would that go? Hmm? What do you mean? I mean, go about bringing them to me. Some of the people in the room a bit more intrigued, though others are wondering what Deku's talking about with this. Because one of them do just want to throw out the idea. Is he talking about kidnapping someone? No, no, I don't think he is. I'm just asking. If I wanted to meet someone, would you be able to bring them to me? I could, yes. Though it will take a little bit more effort. And if you were to take me to them, how would that work? It would work easily. However, you would need to close your eyes. I see. Hmm. If I can get away from the Foundation for at least a day, an hour, maybe. The bell? Uh, right. Deku wondering about it. He could. I wish to meet in Comodoria. The one who is my mother. I want you to bring her to me. I wish to talk to her. Oh, I see. Well then. Currently Mr. D is gonna turn. Him walking out of the room and going to disappear. And Foundation personnel are intrigued by this. And we do currently have Mr. Deeds, who he currently left the room. And now he does get to reappear somewhere else. And let us currently cut over to 3 Portlands, where a woman, she sat in her lab. She was analyzing quite a lot of information. Over the years, a number of things have happened. Prometheus Labs has been an interesting company here in 3 Portlands. They do deal with anomalous things on the anomalous side of the spectrum. They deal with technology the world is not ready to handle yet, and some of it is still highly experimental. Humans, people, would still have a lot of hard time understanding it, along with the fact that with how it is still flawed, means they themselves are still trying to understand how they develop it. It's complicated. Along with the fact that yeah, the company's latest boom was Subject 007. And the company, it is still being funded by the research money that they got, though efforts to duplicate said experiment have not proven as lucky. Inenko does sit there, her typing away on her computer and trying to think about a few things. In the years that have followed 007, development ceased. She spent another 5 years trying to replicate the very experiment, but nothing was as fruitful. Nothing happened. Dead end after dead end. She had to move on. And that certainly was not fun. She has her name recorded in anomalous history, and she is trying to replicate another success, though she can't admit it to herself. She is a woman of science. She does not believe in luck. She believes in odds. Though, when it comes to the anomalous, you have to at least believe at some point. Luck could be a factor. Anomalies do just pop up. Then again, she wants to know the pattern, wants to understand where it comes from. Otherwise, this is going to drive her mad. And currently, she'll get a turn. Her going to have someone buzz her phone. Her bring her hand down, answering it, and then putting on speaker. Asking them exactly why they are informing her as to something about a project. Yes, Miss Midoriya. Um, we've run into complications. Complications with what? Subject 13. It's, well, data we've gotten from the Subject A. Subject A? Her turning her head, a little bit more intrigued about this. Currently, I'm going to inform her. Yes, Subject A, they were quite strange. The autopsy they did showed what they may have gone wrong, and the data is rather interesting. They're not really too sure how to explain it to her, but well, they'll send it over. They'll look at it and see what they mean. They believe there's something anomalous at play with this, rather than just genetic science. I see. Send it over and I'll look over it. Though, anything else? Yes, Subject 12? We've had problems with handling it. We don't really know what to do. I see. Fine. Just keep it sedated and make sure we can keep it contained. That thing is annoying. Anything else? No, Miss Midoriya. No. Currently, Mr. Deed's going to pop up. Him standing behind Miss Midoriya by a few feet. Before he would go to express, which she happened to be Miss Midoriya. Her so gonna jump and turn her head. Her staring at a butler standing there. And this has her concerned. Her going to express, who is he? Ah, pleasure to meet you. I am Mr. Deeds. I have been informed and given the task of bringing you in. Aha. By who? Her saw it turn. Right now, her grabbing her phone and telling them she has to go right now, though she'll call them back in a minute. Her hanging up, and then bring her hand down and grabbing the weapon she has hidden under her desk. And Mr. Deeds does go to express her cooperation would be best. In fact, he was informed to bring her in. Somebody wants to meet her. It is rather intriguing, though. This will be strange. He finds himself here, yet at the same time, he's wondering exactly how they will get out of here. And currently Inko would have turned back to Mr. Deeds, her bringing out the weapon and blasting at him. And we do currently have a few minutes later over with the Foundation, where Deku is informed that he might need to ring the handbell again. It is possible Mr. Deeds may have been killed. And currently somebody does walk into the room. A level 5 researcher. And they do walk over to the glass and see Deku ring the bell. Mr. Deeds remanifesting and looking a little confused after introducing himself again. Though, they do go to inform Izuku as to what may have happened. And they go to inform Izuku that perhaps he might need to reword his statement. And Deku does understand a bit. And the level 5 researcher, they do get someone ask, exactly who may have approved this test? Oh, O5. They're intrigued to know what might happen. Though at the same time, the room has been provided with security measures. I see. Them walking over, pressing a button, and informing Izuku. Mr. Deeds may have encountered lethal force. It might be best to supply him with a weapon, does he think? And Deku turns to Mr. Deeds, the man asking about the current task Izuku would like. And Deku, he does go to inform him. Currently a guard walking into the room and handing Mr. Deeds a gun. Him stepping back out and into the next room. That Mr. Deeds needs to bring Inko Midoriya to his location. He wants to speak with the woman. Take her in alive. Try his best not to harm her. And Deku, he does stare at Mr. Deeds. Currently, him going to nod and turn. Going to make his way into the hallway. Turning and looking at the guard. Before bolting in the hallway and making his way around a corner. Before the visual feed on Mr. Deeds is lost. And we do currently have Inko, who has locked down her lab and activated security measures. She doesn't know how this person got in here. Though, right now, that's not her problem. Her problem is someone broke into her lab. Okay. Someone on her team must have sold her out. No, they wouldn't do that. Though, why would they send a butler? Why would they send... Wait a second. Information. Who would have access to somebody they can just dispose of like that? Why was it so... It was anomalous. Okay, so... It's dead now, so it can't hurt her. Okay. Right. She released Subject 9, and it should be roaming the facility. Everyone's on lockdown, and those who aren't are going to be killed. Then again, she needs to sweep her entire team. Find out more about what's going on there. Find out a lot more. And currently we do actually have Mr. Deeds. He does get a remanifest in the room. Inko Midoriya staring at a computer as the man stands there. Him holding the weapon and moving towards Inko Midoriya. Him a lot more aware. She may not be cooperative. That's why he was given the weapon. Take her in alive. Alive. There's a lot of things to that word. And currently Mr. Deeds, he would go to bring his hand up. Him firing the weapon and smashing it into the wall. The bullet smashing very close by Inko's head. Her turning and going to reach out for her own weapon. The moment she was to grab it and spin, Mr. Deeds would go to shoot her directly in the wrist, her being struck in the arm and then going to let go of the weapon as the gun would fall to the ground, her turning and staring at that, Mr. Deeds holding up the gun and informing her that he was given the task to take her in alive. He was informed she may not be very cooperative. And right now, the two of them are going to be going. Currently, him looking around the room. Before he would, gonna bring his own hand up and begin to tear part of his jacket. And Inko, she would gonna start the man, who currently does gonna shred his suit jacket and then tie her up with the remnants. Him binding her hands behind her, along with keeping her blindfolded. And currently, this does have her very annoyed. Though, she is also beginning to panic a bit because the fact is, this anomaly cannot be killed. And right now, she is worried. Currently, her turning her head and going to try and think of something. Before she does, feel a strange sensation. Before the air in the room feels different. Along with that, she's been to hear another voice. Mr. Deeds walking over and informing Izuku, somewhat going to bow that he did complete the informed task. And will there be anything else? Currently somebody expressing to Izuku that perhaps he should have him retrieve data, clear out the contents of wherever she was. Maybe have Mr. Deeds gather as much information that she was researching as she can, or as much as he can. She was doing quite a lot of things, and the Foundation would like to know what they may have been. And Inko hears that one word. Foundation. And her mind immediately knows what's going on. At the same time, however, she can use this. And currently there actually is Deku, who will gonna walk over and bring his hand down. Him grabbing her blindfold and pulling it up. And the moment Inko does get her eyes meet with those reptilian-like eyes, the ones she hasn't seen in nearly a decade, she begins to feel a bit of panic. Now, there currently is Deku, who will gonna watch her scurry backwards and try to move, flailing against her restraints with panic. And currently, she has a yell for it to back away from her. Right now, her believing the Foundation locked her in a room with her own creation, her own monstrous spawn. Before Deku does this, don't stand there. Currently, him backing away, and Inko stares at it. Since his arms, they appear to be mostly normal. Along with that, he looks human. Too uncanny. Her jotting that down in her mind. And currently, Deku does stand there. Before Mr. Deeds, he does go to appear a few minutes later. However, Izuku, currently, he does stand there with his mother, before the man reappeared. Him opening his mouth and asking Inko exactly if she remembers who he is. And currently her face widens with horror and surprise, since it can actually speak. And this is not a development she expected. And currently Inko would turn, expressing to whoever's on the other side of that glass that she can offer them information if they can remove her from this room now. She is willing to be 100% cooperative and give them whatever they want. Let her out of this room. And currently Deku stares at Inko, him yelling not to ignore him. And she's going to turn back, Deku expressing to her, she is his mother, correct? Do not call me that. You are my mother. I wish to know who you are. I wish to speak with you. I don't want anything to do with you. I see. Why? Why did you do it? Why do people do anything? Because they can? Money. I did it for money. Is that what you want to hear? Though the fact that you are actually able to speak, it does provide additional information to me. I knew this day would come up at some point. I was not expecting it to be the same day I get kidnapped. So are you gonna kill me? You angry? Pissed off? Seems to be doing pretty damn well. Hardy got captured by the Foundation. I assume they would just locked you up and threw away the goddamn key. Why? This again? I told you. I created you because I could. I wanted to test the limits of what genetics could push. Find out more. You were what I made. 007. Subject 7. Returning. Expressing to everybody. Do they hear that? Subject 7. And currently they made their way up to about 15. She could offer them information that Deku was stepping forwards, bringing his hand down and grabbing Inko. Currently, him pulling her up and staring directly at her. And Inko currently is being held up by the throat, expressing to her not to change the subject. He spent a lot of time wondering who she was. Currently, someone stepping forwards, them about to press the button to activate the amnestics, along with activating the agents that should paralyze Deku. However, the level 5 researcher doesn't bring their hand up, stopping the person and informing them. He has not taken hostilities yet. He's simply getting mad. Them turning, pressing the button informing Izuku not to harm Miss Midoriya. The Foundation will have questions. However, please ask his own first. And currently the dudes don't bring their hand down. Someone yelling at them about what to do. And guards stationed in the room, they're a bit more concerned. Because they have the urge to run to that room and try and help. Though from what they've been hearing already, they're not sure who they might need to help. And there actually is Deku, who does begin to scream in Inko's face about what he wants to know. He wants to know if she's ever thought about him, if she's ever had any care about him, if she only saw him as a dollar, if she only made him because she could. He wants to know more. He still has a vague recollection of that day he was born. He remembers it. He remembers her holding on to him for the first time. He can remember that. Though shortly afterwards, he remembers being left by himself in a cage. Did she have anything to do with that? Did she really abandon him? Was she the one who made the decision to sell him? And Inko does stare at Deku, her eyes narrowing. And she would go to tell him. She did what she thought was right. And yes, she will not... no, that's too cliche. She will not hide behind the words. She will say them. What she did was revolutionary. She puts the limits of what the human genetics could do. Along with that, even the Foundation would want to see him. They would want to attempt something like him. No, she never in the slightest had a care for him. She never let herself get attached. If she got attached, she would have lost sight of the project. Does he understand? He was Subject 007. That's all he was. He spent a month in her care. That is all. Though, in that time was what it took to develop him, especially from the sample they had of the reptile. And Deku, he does it mad. Currently, him gonna turn and throw her towards the ground. Inko smashed onto the ground and hitting her arm. Her restraints becoming undone as currently just doesn't lay there. And Mr. Deeds will gonna remanifest into the room. Him with the files and downloaded data Izuku has asked for. And currently this is where Deku would turn, his eyes focused on Mr. Deeds, who currently does stand there in front of Izuku. Before the Foundation, they do begin to somewhat purify the room, filling it with something to knock everybody out, along with the fact that they do need to amnesticize Izuku. And hopefully this can work. It shouldn't kill him, though at the same time, they've never tried to amnesticize him before. So, yeah. If they do get information they need from Miss Midoriya, they can give it to Izuku. Maybe even talk him down a bit. Somebody get Dr. Bright on the goddamn phone right now. We do currently have later, where Deku, he does wake up, currently in his bed. Him sitting up and feeling his head pounding. And this, it's rather strange. He's... Ow. What's going on? Deku looking around. Currently, him going to get out of bed and going to walk into the next room. Him going to sit down on the couch and turn on the TV, wondering exactly what might be on the television today. He wants to rest. He's supposed to be seeing some sort of doctor, maybe. Talk to them. Whatever. He just remembers... He remembers Dr. Clef, but not much after that. Okay, so something must have happened. Currently, Deku gonna get a whiff of the air before realizing that there's something wrong. Him gonna turn and walk into the kitchen. Him sniffing the air and gonna turn, seeing that somebody left something on the stove, along with the fact that there is a note. Currently, it's informing Izuku that the Foundation are going to be leaving him some time to recover, and the therapy session has been rescheduled. And currently there is a large tray of food. Currently Deku looking at it as he is to turn from the note, ignoring the rest of it, and grabbing it. Him picking up the tray and walking back into the living room, since he was basically told they're going to ignore him. However, Deku, he does not read the rest of the note, which would go to express. Currently, he has shown good behavior, and after the last mission, they are willing to negotiate certain things with him. As a show of good faith, they would like to give him some information they may have secured from, well, somewhere, as they call it. Now, currently in Midoriya, she was restrained. She was then brought in front of the O5 Council. And the woman, her name has been thrown out since it's been found, along with the fact that they have been trying to look into her and find her for some time. The Foundation are now meeting with the woman who created the anomaly they are so worried about. 682 is dangerous, but Deku's adaptive capabilities, they seem to be faster. Nay, that's another problem. They have noticed it slows down, though they do want her input on this. They want to know more. They want to know exactly what she did to that thing. She artificially tried to age it up. And is it possible the chemicals involved could have increased his anomalous abilities? No, no, that doesn't. At some point, they should stop. Okay, okay. The Foundation, they need to get her input on this. She created that thing. She'd know what she did to it. Now, the woman does somewhat stand before the O5. Her, heavy restrained, along with the fact that the task force, they do stand there, ready to put a round in her head at the drop of a hat. Now, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.